Thank you so much, Dr. Eric Pearl and Jillian Fleer, for being here for my interview. It's always a pleasure and a joy to be with you, really. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
I would like to begin with a question about an experience I have had with your book, Dr. Eric Pearl, The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself. 8 years ago, after my reconnection, and because I felt so many things during the sessions, as a skeptical, I bought a book just to read and to understand better what it was. But while reading it and touching it, I started to feel something strange in my hand, something like a sensation, something was coming out, and it became hard, and I started to interact with people around me, family, and they started to feel things, and I got really amazed. Then when I start my being a practitioner, I came across many stories around this. People just holding it in the libraries would feel something in their hands. So my question is, how can I explain to someone that doesn't know anything about reconnective healing, how does it happen? How we can interact for the first time, reminding us this skill only by touching this book and this message?
You know, sometimes there is a permission that we grant ourselves to recognize incontrovertibly, undeniably, a level of what is. Now, what is, meaning is always, has been, is, will continue to be, the infinite. Sometimes you might view it as something inside of ourselves knows to recognize that, to allow it. It happens in many different ways. And if we go to analyze each one, we would come up with lots of different ways of trying to explain it, starting from the editor who would call me while I was still working on the book, saying she couldn't edit the book because every time she picked it up to hold it, her hands started to vibrate and her body started to vibrate, to when I received the first copy of the book and I stood it on a piece of furniture in my bedroom, and we had company and a person I didn't know who was walking through the house, just showing her a tour of the house, stopped in front of the book, picked it up, held it to her heart and started to cry. There are levels of recognition, many of them cognizant, many of them not cognizant.
Yeah, I think it's, since you're exploring literature and bringing to your community, Christina, all kinds of literature that is a part of maybe this conversation, and continues to be a part of the reconnective healing experience and the conversation around it. I think we want to really look at the vessel. A book is an object, and it's an object for us to perceive, in a way, the finite world. It is often, whether it's art or literature or music, a gateway and a portal, but it's never really, when we're talking about consciousness, in this case, energy, light, and information, the irreducible, unnameable, in a way, expression of our true nature, our infinite being. These words become, I'm going to say, a engagement or an infiltration point for the mind to recognize that it's what lies behind. It's what is always shining in the background of the word, the object, the feeling, the thought that is illuminating or calling us to our truth. One of, I would say, the most important part of the reconnective healing experience is just one knowingness. It becomes about that again lies behind all of our thoughts and our feelings and our perceptions and our memories and our conditioning and our feelings, whether it's a circumstance of happiness or sadness. This that is revealed again is the continuous knowing of all there is, all infinite possibility that are ultimately our attention is being brought to. It is the awareness that we are aware, and that never is interrupted. That no matter what is going on in our life, we read books to help us heal from relationships or pain or sickness, or often to cure, right? To look for results, to change a state of mind. And so I think that when you read the Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself, or when you are drawn just by walking by a bookshelf or in the company of someone's home, it isn't the physical book or the words or even the pages. It is what is the truth and the knowingness that we are all one reality. We are simply oneness expressing itself through these individual finite body minds. And that calling, when it happens, is home, that which we are incontrovertibly, infiltrates all boxes that are defined by the objects or the judgments that we find in our daily life. And they begin to dissolve. They just dissolve. So.
See, we are awareness, and we're always aware, but we're not always aware that we are aware, and we are aware that we are aware to varying degrees at varying times. And an example that comes to mind right now is the fact that I could pick up that book. I could pick up the Reconnection once every 6 months or so, open it to something, read it, and I become aware of things differently. And I find that there is something about the way that book is written that it does that for the majority of people that I speak to about it.